Well, we're here once again at the Students for Liberty conference in Washington, D.C. One of the things that I absolutely love about events like this is it brings together people that have similar values and similar objectives, but oftentimes outside of that particular area, they have wide areas of disagreement. And what that does is it widens your horizon and it helps you to see things and consider things that, well, me personally, I wouldn't have before. And one such example of that is Elizabeth Halliday, and thank you so much for having a chat with us here on the Aussie Wire. Now, Elizabeth,
thank you for having me.
You were instrumental in a little sort of pre-conference session that I sat in on, thoroughly enjoyed, had my brain sort of expanded and tugged on in different ways, which I always love. Can you tell us a little bit about what was your session about and how have you come to the point where this is something you're really passionate about and you're pursuing?
Topher, thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be here, happy to be part of Students for Liberty. We hosted a workshop on free market climate policy. It's a new approach to dealing with the energy transition. We're not in favor of command and control tactics. We support low taxes, free trade, competition. These types of things tend to underpin a lot of our policies. So we had 3 separate sessions. One was about nuclear and the regulations that prevent that from coming into market. We had one on free trade and low taxation, run by our fellow from the UK, who's originally from Australia, and one on private use of natural resources, run by someone from Bolivia, and they have all kinds of problems down there. We want to find a free market approach on how to deal with the energy transition. Meanwhile, China is running the table, and we don't want to be in their pocket going forward.
Now, I have to apologize for all the background noise. There's not much we can do about that. There is a session in progress right now, and if I didn't just grab people like Elizabeth whenever I had the chance, then unfortunately she's so popular, she's so busy, I wouldn't get to chat with her at all. So I do apologize, but it's just how it is, it's how it has to be. One of the things that I loved is that I was able to sit down in that session, put aside my own personal opinions on CO2 and climate change and what have you. That's well known to my audience. It's not really relevant, because what's relevant is that you are looking for creative ways that are pro-freedom and pro-market to solve problems that a lot of people would categorize as, well, this is why we need government. We have to have government. This is a prime example of that. So can you tell me a little bit about how free markets and freedom and capitalism could have any kind of a beneficial impact on something like climate change?
Well, one of the things which I'm sure many people in your audience would know is that allowing businesses to prosper and trade is how the country recognizes prosperity. Millet made a beautiful point about that in his speech at Davos and really shook a lot of people up. So let's say for gas, those who would vote for end fossil now really have no plan on how to keep the world functioning. So what are we going to do if we need carbon capture, utilization, and storage? How are we going to do that? Not everybody has trillions of dollars lying around. They need to raise money. They raise money through the financial markets. What are the tools that exist that can help do that? One of our primary examples is called a clean asset bond or a co-victory bond, which is corporate tax-exempt debt. People can have a tax holiday on the interest and dividend payments that they would have to make. That would lower the cost of capital and therefore lower all of these projects. I live in New York City. We're watching offshore wind projects get canceled. We're watching companies that have promising futures. They can't make it because they can't make the interest payment. The cost curve is front loaded. It's like this, your costs, and then it levels off almost immediately. We need to address these upfront costs, and our private tax-exempt debt is one way to do it.
I need to dig a bit deeper into that, and again, I'm putting aside my own personal opinions on all of this, but I find it fascinating that we're looking for these sorts of mechanisms, but there must be something different in the American tax system or in the tax systems that you work with. In Australia, as I understand it, if you're a business and you've borrowed capital and you're paying interest on those borrowings, that is tax deductible. Your interest payments come from pre-tax income. So when we talk about a tax-free debt, what are we talking about? I'm not sure that I fully understand that.
That would be for the investors. That would be that the investors would not have to pay taxes.
That penny drop, yes, that makes perfect sense.
This would stabilize it's a stabilizing factor for the fixed income market.
Right.
Let's say an equity, if you have an equity bond or even a capital gains tax, that comes in at about 30%. When
Yeah.
you have an asset, it grows, you sell it.
Yeah.
A bond, you have a predictable coupon, it's going to pay 4%. Our program would last, what we've proposed, would last for 6 years.
Yeah.
A portion of the debt could be raised tax exempt, meaning these people get a holiday, but that would create a market. It would make people want to invest because they would know we're going to get 4% tax free for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
I can finance my wind farm. I can finance my carbon capture and storage,
Yeah.
even if you're a real estate developer. Everybody thinks that their landlord charges too much, but even those guys don't have trillions of dollars to remake every building with solar-powered windows.
6-star energy efficiency ratings as we would have in
Well,
Australia.
we're a big fan of Energy Star ratings, but you can't do it for free.
Sure.
And expecting everybody to cough up all that money with no pathway to profitability when they can make their money back, it's just not happening. So we have money on the sidelines wanting to move forward, and the only thing we have now is gigantic subsidies.
Yeah.
We think that that is where the imbalance begins, because we have a desire and we have cash, but we just need to find the right way to do it. And we think that we have a method by lowering the cost of capital on eligible projects, we'd be able to move forward. And if we really take this one step forward, we could apply this even more broadly in the market and watch what happens. You could generate a lot more business, you get things rolling, people have money in their pocket,
Sure.
they have an investment, it makes them buy into the project that they're working on. So we think this is a promising area of further research. Nothing is set in stone yet. That's why we're here today hosting workshops, and we're happy people like you are able to join us.
And that's why I was actually excited to join, despite disagreeing on some pretty fundamental things. It's not about that. It's about the fact that if this mechanism can work for this problem, then I think you may very well have discovered something that can then be applied much more broadly and potentially bring a free market philosophy into areas that would previously have been regarded as 100% government required to fix these problems. So, look, Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time today before the conference started, your time right now on camera. I hope you go well, and I look forward to seeing your progress. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All the
Have a
best.
great day.